It's a lot of confusion about Art Safari, a name that I also hate. So sometimes I get a letter. Do you see me? Yeah. So sometimes I get a letter, and the letter will say, I would like to speak with the director of Art Safari, and we have a very specific man and female words in Romanian, and it's of course a male director, not directoare. So I say, I'm the director. I often get emails saying, I want to speak with your boss, and I said, I'm the boss. Can you please ask someone who can make a decision? I said, you have to talk with me. And usually I start and end the meeting saying, I don't have to ask anybody. So it's been almost 12 years since I'm involved in Art Safari, and people still don't believe it's my project. Well, it's my project. It's my baby. So, where should I start? I changed in these almost 12 years, 12 ministries of culture, and it's really, really, really difficult to start the story from the beginning. And I don't want to be regional. I don't want to be regional. I don't want to do a small project. And from the beginning, I wanted to do the largest project on the face of the universe in Budapest, in Bucharest. Because I always felt like if I want to see amazing exhibition, I have to take an airplane. I didn't want to do that. My students were always looking in books to see amazing artworks, and I was constantly being upset and frustrated that over here in Bucharest we don't have amazing exhibitions. I started looking around, and I felt like almost all the important exhibitions are somehow stopping in Vienna. So I said, okay, we have to do a large project-based exhibition, or let's call it temporary museum. And from the beginning, it was really, really successful, and I have no idea why. I always ask myself why it was so focused on public. So I didn't want this project to be a project only for the curators, or only for art historians, or only for art students. I wanted to have exhibitions that were very high quality, but to welcome everyone in them. And now I have problems with this computer because I have no idea how to do this. Okay, so Art Safari started in 2014 as a 3-day project that happened in an abandoned building. From 3 days we moved to 5 days the next year, from 5 to 10, from 10 to 14, to 14 to 21, and so on. And we changed venues every single time because, like probably your other cities, in Bucharest we have lots of large abandoned buildings that are not used, that belong to some family during our kingship, and then they were confiscated by the Communist Party, and the owners got it back, and they don't know what to do with them, and so on. So we conquered abandoned buildings and transformed them into art exhibitions, spaces, venues. It's not working. I don't know what to do with this one, so I will just go out, do like this. No, yes, kind of. So this is the first exhibition, and it was a garage space. So actually it was a functioning garage in the middle of the city, one of the first elevated garages that was built in Europe in 1921. And we said, well, it's a very simple task, we just have to move the cars out, convince the owners of the parking slots to let us have an exhibition there, convinced the city hall to give them some temporary spaces for their cars, and then convince all the museums to give us artwork to put in a space that is not good for exhibiting art, and then convince the people that are not usually going to the museums to pay a ticket and come to an art show. So when that was the plan, and my colleagues started to cry because while I was explaining this, the cars were just coming in and they were parking inside. But it was truly a miracle that everybody agreed. The owners moved the cars. The city hall agreed on letting them use some other parking spaces around Bucharest. The museums gave us some artworks. Galleries lent us some works, and suddenly Art Safari started, and the first edition had 15,000 visitors in 3 days, which was a shock for everyone. Nobody was prepared for this. And of course, we were totally taken by surprise. The miracle lasted 3 days because we had to move to another building, and I was literally walking in Bucharest, taking pictures of different buildings, then went to the city hall, trying to find out who the owner was, which was really difficult and still is in Romania, because sometimes I find like the owner is the Communist Party, that doesn't exist since 1989. And I discovered this building, which was in the middle of the city, belonged to a bank, Erste Group, the actual Romanian commercial bank. And while we signed a contract to use the space for an exhibition, Erste Bank decided to sell the property, so we had to go to the next owner, and so on and so on. And I won't talk about every single adventure that we had, but I want to tell you that since 2014, I think we sent around maybe 5,000 emails asking for artworks from abroad. First of all, I don't know what's your experience into lending artwork from large museums, but first of all, they don't answer to your emails. And if they answer to your emails, the answer is always no. And it was really touching, because yesterday with my colleague, I visited the Brazilian pavilion, and they have a wall with all the denials that they have from different large international institutions. The thing is that I'm extremely stubborn. So, after I pestered Pompidou to send me artwork, by the way, they still didn't reply, I started sending emails to Victoria and Arbe Museum and National Portrait Gallery. And I think email number 2000 and something was finally answered, and the answer was no, because you don't have a building. And I said, but now we kind of have a building, because this mayor, my number 6 mayors since I started working with Art Safari, this mayor said that I don't have to move around and we can stay here in this building, which we are using since 2022. And Victoria and Albert said, well, your project seems really crazy. If you are willing to do some changing in the project, we will lend you artworks. And I said, okay, what do I need to do? Well, you need to stay in the building. You need to agree to forget about these special events that last 2 weeks, and you need to have a longer event, which is 4 months. And I felt like I'm about to get married and settle down, and I decided to say yes. So I said to Victoria and Albert and to the City Hall, I will use the building and I will try to do something that I don't know, to have a really long event. And I need to make sure that I build walls which are proper walls. I put ventilation, I put lights, special security systems, and so on. And suddenly I became kind of a museum, which was absolutely terrifying, because we were really used on having an event that was really short, exciting, lot of adrenaline, 2 weeks of people, crowds taking pictures, everybody was happy, it was an event that was happening. And finally, I felt like this large museum that you put things on the walls and then you wait for people to come in, and when they enter in the room, they are really quiet because they enter like in a church and it's a total different atmosphere. And after we passed the inspections from Victoria and Albert sent us a letter saying that they are going to send to Romania Constable, which was never ever shown in Romania, Dürer, Rembrandt, Gainsborough, Andy Warhol, and so on, which was extremely shocking. So, to tell you the truth, when the crates from Victoria and Albert came, I will show you National Portrait Gallery, which followed. When the crates from Victoria and Albert came, it was 5 o'clock. I don't have to tell you that we had to work with a Greek company for shipping and with a Hungarian insurance company for insurance, because you can't insure 100 million euros in Romania, because nobody ever did it before. So when the crates came, my colleagues and I decided to spend the night in our safari. So we sleep over there next to the artworks. It was really exciting. So I think for us, after a decade of trying to convince the Romanian museums to lend us works, we managed to convince Victoria and Albert, the National Portrait Gallery, to send to Romania works. And then we said, well, if we manage to do this, we should start sending some emails to our neighborhood countries to see if they want to show some of the things that we bring. I'm still waiting for their answers, but I will keep on sending emails after emails after emails. And after that, I think everything went really, really easy, because we started to work with Palais de Tokyo and we hosted a French exhibition with contemporary art. We started to work with IFA from Berlin. We had already 2 exhibitions, Paula Modersohn-Becker and Barbara Clem. We had the second exhibition from Victoria and Albert called Bags, and so on. And we suddenly started producing our own exhibitions and exporting them abroad. So we exported to China 6 times, to Belgium once, to Moldova, our neighboring sister country, already 5 times. And we look forward sending more Romanian art abroad, because I think it's very important, like for Romania to be present somewhere else than in Romania or in the region. So far, we had to develop, of course, an educational program which runs separately. So we have special prices for students. We have art classes, and around 1,000 children are coming weekly to our safari to participate to the guided tours, and of course after the guided tours to do some art inspired by the guided tours. And we have partnerships with the National University to host different lectures in our safari, because if you want to talk about art, I think you need to see the art behind you, like real art. Not necessarily from books the way I did it, and the images back then were black and white. And it was a very long and very difficult, incredibly difficult path. We started with 2 people doing everything, and right now we are a staff of 12 very enthusiastic girls and 1 boy, George. I know George is listening right now. So that's it. If you have any questions, please ask. If not, I will keep on sending emails to National Gallery in Sofia. Maybe they will answer to see if we can work together.
Send it to me. Thank you. Yeah, we are, but we have time for one question. Financing.
Yeah.
Incredible
Yeah.
endeavor.
My main supporter is Lidl, which is a supermarket. Yes, Lidl. It's a German company which is based in also in Bucharest, in Romania, of course. So
Yeah,
it's private.
You should tell me the
private,
secret because they don't sponsor us.
Well, you have to keep on sending emails.
Okay.
And after 10 years, after exactly 10 years of existing, we were declared by Ministry of Culture a strategical project for Romania. Mm-hmm. So they cover around 5% of the costs.
Okay, that's the start.
Yes, of course, every single money counts, mm-hmm. but it's almost entirely private funds.
Are you going to tell us something about your future?
My future?
Futuristic plans that you told me. Is this just for the...
Oh, yeah.
Not to share it with the
Yes.
public.
The thing is that we changed so many empty buildings, and it was an incredible... Maybe if I started, if I have to start again now, I look right now for a building. But back then, I had no idea that the project is going to grow so much. I literally had no idea what I was doing. I was just arranging empty spaces and putting art on them, which looks to me very normal, a normal thing to do. But right now, because our safari grew and the audience, it's incredibly demanding, and they want better artwork, better text, better curators, better art interpreters, better educational programs, and better everything. I believe that I need a building, because the building that it's over here in the background, it's an abandoned building that we used, and we have an yearly contract, and that means we can move anytime. The contract says that I don't even have a 2 months warning. So if I get a letter from the city hall, I need to evacuate. So I think the number one priority for the entire Art Safari team is to find a permanent location. So I'm really struggling with that right now. And hopefully, because after using so many heritage buildings and never having plugs or running toilets and so on, I think, unfortunately, in this environment of saving the planet, I have to build a building. So yeah, that's the plan.
And we know you are going to do it. Just tell us the year when we should come for the opening.
I'm thinking it's election year, so this is going to be very difficult in Romania. If I'm not doing it in 5 years, please you send me emails.
Okay. It's the deal. Thank you, Ioana.
Thank you.
It was wonderful.